Hi, everyone. Welcome to the latest episode of Vox Vomitus, otherwise known as Word Vomit. I am your host, author Jennifer Ann Gordon, the author of Beautiful, Frightening, and Silent, and the Victorian Gothic horror series, The Hotel. With me today, as always, are my Vox Vomitus vixens, Trisha Ridinger McKee, author of the Beyond series, and Allison Martine, author of the Bourbon books. There's her bourbon. We are joined today by one of my all-time favorite authors. I wouldn't be a Gothic horror novelist if it wasn't for you, Andrew. Andrew Neiderman, author of The Devil's Advocate, also the ghostwriter for V.C. Andrews since 1987?
That's right.
1987. Welcome, Andrew. Can you tell our viewers and our listeners a little bit about you?
Well, I'm originally from New York. I was a school teacher for 23 and a half years, during which time I published about 18 novels under my name. And as a school teacher, I was the chairman of the English department, director of dramatics. I was even summer school principal for 2 years. So I have a big background in relationships with teenagers, which came in handy when I assumed the V.C. Andrews franchise. I was out in California when that happened because I was getting a movie made of one of my first novels, Pin, P-I-N, which was made into a feature film with Terry O'Quinn, who was a pretty good TV star. And that started my career out in Hollywood. And I started writing V.C. Andrews at the same time. And often I would write two of the I call it Neiderman thrillers and two V.C. Andrews books. So between the two of them, I have about 126 published novels. And
you are incredible. You are our most prolific writer we've had on the show. I was trying to figure out, I was looking at my copy of The Umbrella Lady, which is your newest V.C. Andrews release. And I was just looking at all of the titles, all of the V.C. Andrews titles.
Yeah.
And it is awe-inspiring to think that you had all of those words and many more in your brain.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's a blessing or a curse, but I don't lack for ideas, and I've always had a story waiting to be told. So V.C. Andrews just seemed to be a proper place for all that. When I took it over, there were 7 V.C. Andrews novels. There's about 86 now.
Yeah. So, I mean, you are the V.C. Andrews that we all know and love. Is that weird for you still, or are you used to it?
No.
Like when we fangirl and just say, I love you.
No, I'm not. It's not even anymore. I mean, I was very closely attached to it. The V.C. Andrews family became my second family, and I was theirs. My wife and I and our kids were theirs. We would were at each other's family events. We've been together for 34 years.
That's like a better Hollywood marriage than any other story I've heard, honestly, ever. That's amazing.
I mean, yeah, to get along and to do these things together was wonderful. I guess I can announce it. I had written the biography of V.C. Andrews, Virginia Andrews, in the editing process, and it will be published I think the first week or second week of February of next year.
Oh my God.
And that was an incredible experience. There were so many misunderstandings about Virginia Andrews, so much misinformation. Some of it was deliberate. But,
deliberate by who? By her?
Yeah. She had her reasons, and it's an incredible life story and a wonderful, when Flowers in the Attic is published, from then on, incredible experiences.
Yeah.
So I have so much of hers to use. She wrote some wonderful personal letters, very long, very detailed. As I said, I'm very friendly with the family, so I have a lot of personal remembrances, and there were not that many interviews of V.C. Andrews, really good in depth. But I have the ones that were in depth, and then I have her own writing about her writing. So
Oh
all of
my
it together
gosh.
took months and months, obviously, to put together. But we're at the process now of editing the manuscript. So we're a ways away from like things like cover and that. But there's a big interest in it being made into a movie.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Okay,
I
so
would,
who plays VC Andrews?
that was my question.
I think there'll be a lot of actresses trying for that part.
Who would you
Absolutely.
want?
Yeah, who would you want?
Well, you have to, I think most of her life really starts at 55 because that's when Flowers in the Attic was published. And she really didn't have any significant publications before that.
I
And
didn't
her
realize
life-
she was that old when she started. That's later. in life.
She was an artist, wasn't she? She dabbled in art.
Yeah, she did a lot of good, wonderful art. It was, she even did fashion design at some department stores used. But that was, that was because she was basically homebound. That was the thing she could do. But she did some beautiful work, and there'll be replicas of that in the book. Wonderful pictures that nobody's ever seen.
Oh, wow. So exciting.
And there will be a partial of an unpublished manuscript, the only one really. So that'll be included in the book. It'll be quite a wonderful gift, I think. And
Oh, yes.
even though it's out in February, I think a lot of people will buy it for friends for Christmas. Just saying this is coming to you.
Yes.
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 So,
Wow.
Everyone watching this. This is
Yeah.
what I want for Christmas next year.
It's on my list
there'll
already.
be a lot more information about it in the next 3 or 4 months.
Oh,
And
Does it have a working title?
The Woman Beyond the Attic.
oh. That gives me chills.
I was just going to say that. Yes.
It's the perfect
Wow.
VC. Oh,
Fascinating stuff, really is. I was fascinated to keep working on it. So, and I had a good assistant. My daughter did a lot of research with me. She's a
Good.
former school teacher, so she was very good at that. And I'm very excited about it.
did you think, 34 years ago, when you signed on to be the VC Andrews ghostwriter, that this would become such a major part of your life, that you would write 86 books?
Well, there was never any kind of guarantee of that. The first book I wrote was Garden of Shadows, which is the prequel of Flowers in the Attic.
Yes.
And it was successful, very successful. And I finished the Heaven series, which is all really successful, and the Dawn series. So when it started to take off like that, there was more optimism about it continuing. And then it began to sell even more worldwide. I've been all over the world, basically, representing VC Andrews, meeting with agents, speaking to groups. So it's been an incredible experience.
Well, we are honored that you're on our show.
Yes.
Well, my publicist, Jennifer Robinson, told me I got to be on it. So that's it.
See, us Jennifers really stick together.
She's very good.
Trisha,
So
were you
hopefully
gonna...
people, fans will enjoy it. And I'm open to any questions I can answer about any of that.
Perfect.
There's a lot there.
Yeah. Trisha, I know you are a huge
Oh.
fan. We have geeked
Yes.
out. We've all
Yes.
geeked out over the impact of VC Andrews on our life. Do you have any questions for Andrew?
Absolutely. It shows in the Castile series, that's when you kind of jumped in. I think 1 or 2 books are attributed to both you and VC Andrews. And I was wondering, I've read that you worked with her on it, and then I've read other reports where you simply took over. And I was wondering which was the case, and also, how was it to find her tone? Because you have a very distinct writing tone in the books under your name. And then the VC Andrews is just, you absolutely follow her style, and it's so amazing. So I was wondering how you were able to achieve that.
Well, first, Virginia died before I took over the franchise. I was actually out in California getting started on a movie of one of my books, Pin. And my agent called me back and said, "You have to come back because I already kind of auditioned for it." I was a teacher of creative writing, and so I was very familiar with style and what goes into it, and I kind of smoothly moved into it. But there were only 2 independent books written when I started that series. So I finished it and basically drew the plot out of what she had already done. I had a lot of her material given me by family to get into it, to get into depth about it. I had not even read Flowers in the Attic. My wife had read it. I was reading about it. And I was going crazy because I was publishing my books, and she was reading about this author. So
you're doing great, Andrew, but this VC Andrews, she's
right.
She's something else.
She's amazing. You're good too.
So I had to get into that, and then I approached it like a graduate research paper, basically. I studied the language, syntax, characters, settings, everything in detail, and that was necessary to really write the book. Yeah.
I'm
But for a long time, nobody knew, and basically the excitement came when people discovered it and still stuck with it, and that was a great, to me, a compliment.
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask, because I know that when we first found out we were going to get to have you on the show, the first question was, pretty sure VC Andrews died. People hadn't realized, okay, but someone else has been writing this whole time. And I'm not sure most people knew when that transition, when that baton handoff occurred. I think it happened earlier than most of us knew, especially if you weren't talking about it. So was the decision to make the announcement, here's who's writing it now in her legacy, was that a deliberate thing, or did it just come out and you had to roll with it?
It came out because of a very unique IRS tax case.
Oh, go on.
Oh no.
A tax case?
Yeah, when VC Andrews' books were still publishing, the IRS decided in its wisdom to place a value on the VC Andrews name and then tax it.
Tax the name.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that happens a lot now. So the Andrews family had to pay the tax, but they sued the IRS.
On what grounds?
That the amount was way too high, and I was obviously like the chief witness in the case. So I guess I could tell you this because it's pretty much known in the legal world. In fact, I didn't know that the case set precedent. And what happened was the IRS attorney made a mistake that lawyers are never supposed to make. And that's ask a question that you don't know the answer of.
That is the number one. I am an attorney. That is the number one question. They say never ask a witness where you don't already know what's supposed to come out of their mouth. Now, they can lie, but you should at least know what they're supposed to say. So what question did he ask?
He asked me to put in order of importance my name, VC Andrews, in the books. So I said to him, who wrote Gone with the Wind? He didn't know.
Okay.
Many people don't know the author's name. But I said, but you know who Scarlett O'Hara is? He said, of course. So I said, well, you answered the question. The story is number one.
Who wrote it is secondary.
Which there wouldn't be a story without me. So that's one too. And I remember the defense attorney for the Andrews going, yeah.
Over there. You're not supposed to do that, but
the Washington Post picked up the story, and that's how it got out. Then I was chased by the magazine forever.
May I just say that I'm very sad they didn't teach me this in tax law because I didn't like tax law, and that would have been a really cool story.
Yes, it would have been.
Basically, what happened was my son was running a brewery at the time. We had a brew pub, and I came in one night, and he said, "There's two people who want to meet you here. They're both lawyers." I said, "Oh,
That's never good.
Don't talk with lawyers.
No, but you're very famous." I said, "What do you mean?" They said, "Your case is a precedent we use for all estate cases and even divorces." So I didn't know at the time, but it was a big case. And then, everything followed from there.
Was this before or after The Devil's Advocate? Were you inspired by?
I've always had a thing with lawyers. Let me think. No, I guess, it'd be after The Devil's Advocate, because I wrote it actually in New York. So, The Devil's Advocate is a whole other thing. I have many funny stories of lawyers with The Devil's Advocate. But one of the most amazing stories, my wife and I were on our way to Nice, France. And on the plane, I started talking to a man across the aisle. And you know how you get to the point where, what do you do, what do you do? So he asked me what I did, and I told him I was a writer. He said, "Why did you write this?" I think I know. I said, "Well, you probably know The Devil's Advocate." And he went, "Oh my God, you changed my life." And it gave me the chills. I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "I was an attorney, and I represented a man who was accused of killing a child. And I got him off. Then I saw The Devil's Advocate, and then the guy killed another child. So I quit law and bought a hotel in Aix, France. And that story never left me, and it still gives me chills today."
Yeah, I was going to say, you just gave me chills.
Yes.
Yeah, it was chilling.
I would like to know if you stayed in that hotel later, and was it a nice hotel?
I ate there in a beautiful restaurant in a place called Aix, France. Anybody ever gets, again, I hope soon.
Yeah, like if we can ever leave our houses again.
Not allowed to leave California, sorry.
Yeah, well, you will someday. It's a magical village above Nice, all pebble-toned streets, no cars. It's just a wonderful experience. You feel like you just stepped into a storybook. So I would recommend that. EZE. Anybody listening, whoever gets to travel, put that on your menu.
It's going there.
My travel menu.
Yep.
So, Andrew, I remember being, and I think I was in 6th or 7th grade when I feel like every girl in my school was reading the Flowers in the Attic series. And it was almost like contraband. We thought we were being so grown up by reading it, and we were. It was a little above our heads. What does it feel like to be kind of part of this whole movement that really shaped and defined a generation?
Well, that is a part of the excitement. And just to give you another anecdote, when I first started, I was in California. I stopped into a bookstore in Venice Beach, and I asked the owner, the two women owned it, and I said to them, "Do you have any V.C. Andrews novels?" And they said, "We don't carry V.C. Andrews." And I said, "Why not?" They said, "Because she exploits women." Meanwhile, on the rack, they had Playboy, and the Hustler and all that. And I looked at it and said, "This is really something." So I never forgot it. I think Flowers of the Attic had a huge effect on teenagers growing up, and men too. By the way, the first fan letter that V.C. Andrews ever got was from a man, not from a teenage girl.
Will that be in the book?
Yes.
Like, love it.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
I really do. If it wasn't for V.C. Andrews, if it wasn't for you, I honestly can say I wouldn't be a Gothic horror writer. I wouldn't. I don't think it was even on my radar. But Flowers in the Attic broke my brain in a good way.
I would like to remind you that you are also taunted by a nun porcelain doll. So
I'm a
that kind of
character from
primed
a
you.
V.C. Andrews book.
Yeah, that's probably why you picked up the V.C. Andrews book. Oh, this is for me.
Yeah. Well, the covers were pretty good too in those days. I mean, they're very,
The
They were
covers were
great.
this distinctive and iconic, and even
Yes.
now, I know that I can picture seeing them at the end cap of every grocery store. I don't remember seeing books at a grocery store like that, but that's where all of the V.C. Andrews with the little face through the attic.
The face and the big haunted eyes.
I call it a step back in publishing, and it's very, very expensive, so it's not done anymore. But you look through a hole into another cover, and they were very famous, those covers.
I
In
have
fact,
a.
another publisher tried to do it, and they were sued.
Oh, really? Could they copywrote the concept of the peep through?
Yeah, they.
Nice.
So yeah, it's so much involved in it. You got to realize, V.C. Andrews is probably the longest running living franchise
Yes.
in American publishing. It's 40 years old.
Yeah, I can't think of anything longer that's still going on. I mean,
Yeah.
Terry Pratchett's been pretty long, but there was no continuation after that died.
Yeah. Like Nancy Drew stories.
Yeah.
But V.C. Andrews is unique in that regard.
I have your publicist sent me a Flowers in the Attic COVID mask.
Oh yeah.
And when I wear that, the few times I go out of the house, I pride myself on having fashion masks, but that mask is the one that everybody comments on. They love it. People will stop me and go, "I loved that book." Just that book changed my life. And I'm like, I'm going to have Andrew on my show. And they're like, okay, crazy lady.
I don't think there's too many novels that are the phenomenon of Flowers in the Attic.
No.
It is even being published now in mainland China.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
I feel like there could be a whole law course just on the impact that this series and V.C. Andrews' life, just teaching between copyright and the estate stuff, and now even breaking into a place that had such restriction and censorship and what that means, including the censorship of the women in the Venice bookstore. But that's on them.
So I think the Chinese, mainland China one is abridged. I think they did cut some of it out.
Oh.
But
They're going to get it. It's going to be a pamphlet.
They're what?
So by the time they get it, it'll just be like a little pamphlet.
It's 3 pages long.
3 pages long.
One of them's the title page. And the
Well,
is still there.
It was published before that in Hong Kong, Shanghai, Thailand. I mean, all over Asia. Big in South Korea. It's just that mainland China jumped aboard finally. Yeah.
That's exciting. Do you get copies of all of the
Yeah.
international
Also, I'm
prints?
trying to sing them around Australia. It's just endless wall of foreign copies. I'm looking for people who read Polish. This
Oh.
phone has just bought, like, I don't know, 10 series.
Oh,
So I
wow.
got all these Polish books.
What are you going to do with all these Polish books?
I don't know. We're going to be moving in about 6 months, and I'm going to have to, in a smaller location, because we're ready to downsize. And I have about 2,000 books that I'm going to have to donate to libraries.
I was just like, you can donate them to me.
You are not a library, Jen.
I know.
Sorry. I was going to say, you're not that far from my local library. And if I were to drive out there and come back,
What is your local library?
Orange, it's the Orange Public Library. We're not part of the Orange County system. We're kind of out of it, but it's a.
What town is that in?
So it's Orange. So it's if you know the Orange Circle there.
So is that near South Coast Plaza?
Southwest Plaza is a little further south on the 55. So the Southwest Plaza is in Costa Mesa. It's about 15 minutes south of here.
Okay. My son lives in Santa Ana, and
That's right by me. Yeah. I
Yeah.
border on Santa Ana.
so maybe I'll give him books to bring to your library.
Yes.
Road trip to Allison's house.
I know.
Yes.
You have a reason to visit the books.
I would visit you and visit the books.
Me and the book.
Right. So we'll do that.
But
So
yeah, I love the idea of the Polish books, and those are probably the ones you're going to donate. But maybe they're like a cultural center,
Oh,
like
no,
a
no,
cultural
I'll be donating other English books.
Okay.
Don't forget we're published in the UK, Ireland, Scotland. We're published in 45 United Kingdom entities. That's free English. So.
wow.
If there's any in
Australia.
Russian, I would like that.
So Roman can read them?
I would force Roman. Roman is my husband. He's Russian, so I would force him to read Flowers in the Attic in Russian if
To you.
that was out loud to me.
I have The Devil's Advocate was published in Russian. I brought that
Sorry.
with me when I visited.
Trisha, I think you had another question for Andrew. I saw you get excited.
Yes. Well, I'd read that VC Andrews had written Flowers in the Attic in 2 weeks.
Oh,
It was sent back to her saying we need something a little more in this book, and she made the revisions in one night, and they said perfect. But you have so many books under your own name and under the VC Andrews franchise. How are you so prolific with everything? Do you write fast? Is it just you sit down and you spend hours writing each day? How does that happen?
Well, I work practically every day. When I was first starting this, I wrote on 2 computers. One for my novels, my terror novel, and I would turn the chair and start writing VC Andrews.
Oh wow, I
just
love that.
back and forth
That's
during the
basically
day.
true. Yeah. So I would, everything is exaggerated. I don't think VC Andrews' Flowers in the Attic was not written that fast. Let's leave it at that. I mean, it took,
Okay.
like every writer works quite a long time on the book.
She was a mere mortal after all.
Yes.
She was. I will say there are schools of thought now, especially towards indie writers, that say just be cranking out these books really, really fast. But I feel like a book cranked out that fast probably wouldn't become this iconic piece that so many people have just glommed onto and held onto for dear life. If it was just like, and then I just wrote it and it was gone. I feel like there's probably a lot more to it than that, at least in her heart.
There's a lot more.
First.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it. You know, writing is rewriting.
Yes.
And anybody that doesn't know that, I think I write my novels. I mean, I go back over everything every day, so I probably write the novel 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hence why our
really
show is called Vox Vomitus.
Yes. Well, and everybody's got more than one way of doing things. Like some people have a really rigid structure of like they finish a draft and then go back to it. Okay, but we had a question up that asked, how do you have more than one story in your head at a time?
Well, the way that happens is you have distinct different characters, and the story comes from the characters.
Yeah.
So if I have a major character writing a VC Andrews, well, I'm talking about back when I recruited. My novels under my name are usually what I call premise novels. So I sold The Devil's Advocate, for example, with one line to Warner Brothers. And that line was, it's about a law firm in New York that represents only guilty people and never loses.
Nice.
And like, wow, how is that? What is that? And then that led to.
Yeah. That's a great pitch.
If you can reduce your novel to a pitch line, which is a skill in itself, you can hold that line in the back of your head while you're working something else. That's the way it works.
How do you know when you found that line? Because I think I may have found it in what I'm doing right now, and I'm going, ooh, but maybe it's just my own ooh, and I'm just happy that something's up here. Anything at all? How do you know when that, ooh, that's the line?
Well, take that pitch line and analyze it a little bit, and you know what it's about, where it's located, and you've got the hook question. And if you can do all those 3 things, it's very similar to a pitch for movies. You have literally about 5 minutes of a producer's attention span. That's just the way they are. So in that 5 minutes, you got to give them that kind of pitch so they can envision an actor, a setting, and course. And you basically do the same thing.
Do you usually know who that actor is? So you could say, picture Keanu Reeves. Trisha's always picturing Keanu Reeves.
It's funny you said that because I cast him. I had lunch with the director and he said, "Who did you see?" And I said, "Keanu Reeves."
Trisha's gonna die.
Trisha's gonna die.
I
Keanu Reeves
can't.
is Trisha's
He said, "Are you
boyfriend.
serious?" I said, "Yeah," because he hadn't really met anything serious. And I didn't think it went over, but he called me the next 2 days later and said, "I had lunch with Keanu and you're right." And that
Oh
was
my
it.
gosh. Oh, and that was it.
That was it.
That was
Yeah.
it.
You said he hadn't been in anything serious before that. Before that, was he very much so? Whoa, dude! Was that who he was? Okay, so people would
Yeah,
probably have to be
that's
sold
what-
on the idea of he's
The
not
trouble with
that guy.
Hollywood, if you do a movie like that and it's big, you get more or less pigeonholed. And
Yeah,
that was what
right.
was happening to him. However, he did leave Speed to do the Devil's Advocate.
And
Maybe
Speed was more
he wasn't
serious, but it was action versus. Well, Speed's more serious, but it was also action oriented. But he wasn't quite so, cotton candy brained in those.
He also wanted to work with Al Pacino. And
Yeah.
That-
That
that
doesn't
doesn't
suck. That
Yeah,
doesn't
I mean,
suck.
who doesn't want to do that?
Yeah.
I'm not an actress, and I'd do it. Sounds fun.
We should touch on the Umbrella Lady before,
Okay.
because the Umbrella Lady is your latest release, the latest VC Andrews release. It
And
came
then-
out
right.
February 2nd. I'm reading it right now. And
Yeah.
Andrew, I think this is one of my favorite VC novels I've read in a while.
Oh, great.
I love the premise.
Share
And
the premise, Jen. What's
the premise, I know, because I messaged you yesterday about this. I don't want to give too many spoilers away, but this is all in the first chapter. A young girl's mother accidentally dies in a fire. Her father abandons her at a train station, and she is kidnapped by a really strange woman carrying an umbrella and brought back to her house and then kept there. And that's like everything that a VC Andrews book should be.
Yeah.
Yes.
You knocked it out of the park. And
Dead
the
parents.
dead
Kidnapping.
parents, kidnapping, an umbrella, a house that looks like a
Mystery.
gingerbread house, mystery. And the language is lush and it's beautiful and it's so gothically fantastic. If
Well,
people are
thank you.
listening to this, watching this, that are huge fans of Gothic fiction, please buy The Umbrella Lady. Please.
I appreciate it. I really did enjoy that book, and all I've gotten back feedback on that's been pretty good. So there's a sequel.
I was just about to ask because I'm not done yet, but already I was thinking, I want there to be more of this.
There's a lot more of it.
Oh,
It's called
good.
Out of the Rain, and then it'll be out in October.
Gosh.
Wow. Wow.
How many books are you getting published a year? Is it 2? Is it 3?
3, right?
3.
Because I was going to say, Jen and I both read, and I don't know if Trisha read it too, a book before, because we were supposed to have you on earlier in the year, and we read your newest release then, and Jen had time to read or start reading another book that's come out since then, and that wasn't that long ago. So that's just a crazy turnover schedule.
Yeah. It's. I mean, I work every day, and I'm always ahead of publishers by 7-8 months. It takes 9 months to get a book out, really. And so,
Just like the baby.
I mean, I have the work ethic. Having been a teacher, I just stay with it. It's still fun to me, and I'm so excited by it, and I enjoy you guys, and that's really a major reason to do it
Oh.
at this point in my life. Really,
Well,
I
I
could-
feel it.
there's if everybody says to me, the big question, and I've had this question posed to me by billionaires, literally billionaires, who are still working, and they have dinner with them, and they say to me, "Can you tell me why you are still working?" And I say, "Because the work is who I am. It is who I am." And they say, "You know what? I'm going to use that because they have so much money and they're still working, and everybody's always asking them, why are you still working? Because that's who you are." And if it's who you are, you know, like anybody says, when are you going to retire? I say, when I fall out of my chair, I retire. And that's it. It's going to be that. I'm not going to, you can't retire your brain.
Well, and you still are having these stories come out of you. So if their stories are still in there and you just said, well, I'm done now, stories would just pile up and then your head would just hurt all the time. And that's not
Yeah, they're waiting. My cat's cranking on me right now. So I just want to leave you with that. Thanks for the Umbrella Lady, which is out now. I made the news with you at the bio, which will be out in February. But everybody should think about watching Ruby and the Landry series in Lifetime in March 21st, 27, 28. It's going to be worth it to watch it. It's the best they've done.
Well, I will say I downloaded the Lifetime app just for your movies, just for the VC movies.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I watch on there, and I watch all of them.
You're going to like this. You're going to
I
like
can't wait.
Oh, wow.
Andrew, you have been a pleasure.
Well, and I wanted to say, you
Thank you
told us
so
ahead of
much.
time that the actresses are actual twins. So there's none of the CG mumbo jumbo. It's actual twins, really
know.
in each other's
It's
faces.
fun to watch them.
I'm
you're gonna
excited.
really enjoy that part of it.
That's
And they're from Australia, but they do a good job on the whole accent thing.
Cannot wait.
Okay,
Thank you, Andrew.
guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll
Thank
be
you,
in
Vox
touch.
Vomitus
We'll do it
Vixens.
again.
Thank you, all of our people watching. This has been Vox Vomitus, a copywritten podcast for the Global Authors on the Air Network. I want to thank Roman Saratin, our video producer, Pam Stack, our executive producer. Tune in next week at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday, where we will be discussing Julia Fine. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, he's gone already.